my eggs in here. What's going to happen if I just throw my egg yolks in here? What? It's going to cook. It's going to turn into scrambled egg or hunks of eggs in there. Do I want that in my lemon curd? No. So what I have to do is I have to temper my eggs. This is another cooking term. Temper my eggs. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to pour a little bit of this hot solution into my eggs, just a little bit at a time, and I'm going to be stirring quickly as I do that so it doesn't cook my eggs. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring my eggs up to the temperature of what's in my pot. So I have to do this a little bit at a time so I don't get that scrambled egg in there. And I'm going to put about half of my pot in here. And then when I have about half of it in here, I'm going to return it back to the pot and cook it for another minute. So I have about half of it in there now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just put this back here. I'm going to pour it back in here, and I'm going to be stirring as I do that into my pot to bring that all up to the same temperature. Get it all in there. I have to put the heat back on because this has to cook again. I want to cook that yolk in there so I don't have raw egg in there. It's probably cooked to some degree already because of the heat of the substance. And I'm going to just put my timer on for a minute and let it cook again for a minute. And now you can see that this has turned yellow like you would think a lemon curd would be. Some people add coloring to it to make it even more lemon in color. I don't like to do that. I don't like to add imitation stuff to my food. Like, I know everybody likes that red velvet cake, but that's a lot of coloring in there. I don't know if you know that, but they're putting tons of red coloring in there. And that's not particularly good for you. How many of you like that red velvet cake? So good. Yeah. It's really just a red chocolate cake. But people love it, and I don't know, it doesn't really do that much for me, and so, like, I'm not a cake person anyway, so I'd rather just go natural and not put any coloring in there. I like certain pies and things. I like cookies better than. Okay, right now what I'm going to do is I had that on there for a minute, so I'm turning off my heat. I'm going to put my butter in here, stir that around, let that melt in there. And I could cut it up a little bit if I wanted it to melt faster. But you can see that because it's so hot, that liquid is melting it down fairly quickly. Again, here's some more fat going into this recipe, right? And then after this, I'm going to add my lemon to this. My lemon juice, and that's going to give it the lemon flavor. Get in there, butter. I want to sort of get my butter melted because now, after I get my lemon juice in here, I'm going to pour this into my pie crust. And then I'm going to put my whipped topping on it. Oops. So it's going to go into my pie crust next. It's going in there. And then I'm going to put my meringue on top. So thick it doesn't want to even bounce off of there. foam that you used in your waffles because it has that sugar and cream of tartar and flavoring it now to make it sweeter. And so here you see a couple of different functions of eggs. We have it making a meringue, and in this case it's not leavening it, but it's making a whipped topping that's full of air. And you can go around and you can kind of like do these little circles and make it stand up so it looks a little bit nicer. And now this is going to go under the broiler for a few minutes. I changed my stove to the broiling function. And I'm going to put it under the broiler and I'm going to just kind of heat it up, heat the top of that pie up.
What difference does that make?
Well, it cooks the meringue a little bit for you. And it's only going to take a few minutes to do that. Right back.
Yeah.
Now this is the pie that I made the other day. It's come away from the sides a little bit, but I wanted you to be able to taste test this. So we're going to taste test a little bit of this. I'm watching that meringue because once it starts to cook, it cooks very quickly. And the other day I was in here and I had Mr. Rothman in here observing, and I was doing, I got this out and I started cutting it. And the next thing I smelled it, and I took it out. It was all brown on the top. So
The oven's open. Leave the oven open.
I leave it open so I can see in there. You don't have to. You can use your light, but I like to be able to get it out quick if I need to. But I have it under the broiler. It's just now starting to get brown. So not going to be much longer. We'll be done. Aha. Seems to be browning on one side more than the other. Oops, I just knocked some of it. All right, so can you see that? Everybody can you all see it? No? Yes? Okay, so it's going to look something like that when it comes out. Now this is one of those kind of pies you want to cool down and put in the refrigerator, and then it solidifies a little bit more for you. If we ate this right away, it would be kind of runny. I'm going to give you some pie that was made the other day. We'll see how that is. How many of you would like to try this? All of you? I just stuffed it under the broiler.
Should I stop?
Yes, you can stop.